Another video, another hairstyle. Hello! I come to you today with my April wrap-up. However, while we are at the beginning of the video and I have your sole undivided attention, I would like to tell you about my friend Darren, who has recently started a booktube channel. He is a children's bookseller who enjoys pink wine, cardigans, and is a member of Ravenclaw, I believe. Please don't lynch me if I got that wrong. He has also started his booktube channel off with an absolute bang. He has bypassed all the usual sort of wrap-ups, tags, all that jazz, and gone straight in for the discussion elements. He's been around quite a long time on his blog, which is Shinra Alpha at WordPress, which I will link down below. But yeah, if you click on his face right now, sorry Darren, then it will take you through to his channel and you can see what I'm talking about. He lets me talk at him about books a lot, so please go check him out and let him talk at you about books. Back on track with my April wrap-up, which is not really probably as exciting as Darren's channel, to be quite honest with you, because I read 2 books in the month of April. Firstly, 11/22/63 by Stephen King. This is an absolute chunker of a book at about 750 pages, I think, so yeah, it took me most of April to get through this bad boy, but I'm really glad that I did. I really enjoyed it. I often have an issue with King about not ending properly. I say often. I've read 2 things by Stephen King, and one was Cell and one was the Dark Tower series, which is obviously 7 books, but we'll just call it 1 for convenience sake. And for both of them, I just didn't feel truly satisfied by the ending. I felt like I'm paying for a beginning, a middle, and an end, and I'm only getting 2 of these things. And yeah, he just doesn't end things well for me. However, I am happy to inform you that for 11/22/63 he did do that. It wasn't the ending that I was wanting, but it was an ending, so progress. Basically, this book is about a teacher, Jake Epping, from 2011 who goes back in time to try and stop the assassination of JFK. However, he doesn't sort of conveniently go back to the 2 seconds before JFK is going to be assassinated so he can push the gun out of the gunman's hands. He goes back to 1958 and therefore has to fill in the 5 years in between with life. Hence the length of the book, because we really get to know this character Jake, or George as is his name in the 1950s, 60s era, and he has to live basically and develops all these relationships and undergoes the sort of pluses and negatives of living in the past. So obviously we've got everything's dead cheap and some things are a lot more lax, as in like your security. You can leave your door open at night, but also there are these issues of racism, like xenophobia. And yeah, it's just really interesting to see the amount of research I think that King put into this and the amount of thought that went into how someone from the future would really fit in. I mean, I think Jake is about his early 30s when he goes back, so he's not super young, but he's not super old either. So it's a bit of a mix of things, and just really daft things like phrases and what's acceptable with language and music and things like that. It was a bit of a slog. I mean, there are parts where, because it's more of a tale of everyday life than sci-fi time travel, it does slow down. But I think I much preferred this version than if King had gone, oh, he goes back in time to 1958. 5 years later, all this happened. And there are pockets of action and the plot speeding up. Overall, I did really enjoy it, and I've recently discovered that it has been made into a TV show, which I believe has already aired in the US and is currently airing in the UK at the time that I'm publishing this video. I think there's like 2 or 3 episodes have come out. So now that I've finished the book, I'm interested to see what the TV series is like. I know that it differs quite a bit from the book, just because my boyfriend's watching it and I've spoken to him a little bit tentatively about what goes on, and there were some glaring differences straight away. But you know, it stars James Franco, so meh, can't be all bad. The second thing that I read this month is Fellside by M R Carey, who is the guy that wrote Girl with All the Gifts, which I absolutely loved. Therefore, when I knew that Fellside was coming out, I was like, yes, pre-order, let's do this thing. However, it is a very, very different book. I've heard it described as Orange is the New Black meets Sixth Sense, which kind of is what it is. Basically, there is a woman who is a junkie named Jess who shoots up, gets really high, and then there's a fire in her building which she is accused of causing, and the fire killed a young boy. So she gets sent to prison for murder, and we get to know the ins and outs of the prison and all sort of like the characters, and there's like a drug run cartel thingamabob. I would not do well in prison, obviously. At the beginning, there is this quite strongly threaded supernatural element because we meet Jess actually in hospital because she's been very badly burned in the fire and needs a lot of reconstructive surgery, and she learns sort of what happened. She can't really remember, her memories aren't really there, and she can sort of see the ghost of Alex, who kind of rejogs everything for her. She goes through the trial, is convicted, and then again meets the ghost of Alex and sort of converses with him a little bit more. Then we switch over and we learn all about the ins and the outs of the prison. The guard who is in cahoots. Oh, cahoots. Yeah, I would not do well in prison. In cahoots with some of the inmates, with a drug ring, and we meet several of the main prison characters, and then there's also the infirmary where we meet a doctor and a nurse because obviously Jess needs a lot of medical care because of what's happened to her in the fire. And I just didn't feel that these genres sort of melded together very well, and I don't know whether it's because the supernatural element didn't thread strongly enough through the rest of the story. I felt that there were big chunks where we learned a lot about the prison and the characters and what was happening with the drugs and all that sort of stuff, and then all of a sudden it would be like, oh yeah, and by the way, Jess can see ghosts and we'll talk to them for a little bit, and then it kind of reverted back, and then I got really involved in this part of it, and it was like, oh yeah, but the ghosts, and that's really creepy, and and I just, yeah, it didn't gel for me at all, and I didn't see how it was wholly necessary. I think part of me would have been a little bit happier if Alex was sort of not real and it was Jess working through her emotions. And I mean, he does help her work through emotions, but it was just it just felt jarring the whole way through. And so I did enjoy it, and it's not a very very long read, and I do enjoy the way that M R Carey writes because I think that his characters are really good and really well sort of grounded, and you do find out for the most part why people sort of act the way they do, and they feel quite real. But I just didn't didn't enjoy it. And I also think I've felt like I didn't need to know what happened next. Like if I put it down, I was a bit like, could take it or leave it to pick it back up again. So yeah, very different to Girl with All the Gifts, where I just loved every minute of it and was compelled all the way through to find out what happened and found the end really like shockery amazing. And with this I kind of struggled with the end because that was when a lot of the supernatural elements came into it, and I felt like, well, it felt a bit far-fetched because of how grounded in a way and good in a way the rest of the prison element was of it. So hopefully that makes sense. I don't know if anyone has read it, it's quite a new release, but yeah, if you have or have any other thoughts on it, then please do let me know. We can have a little bit of a chat. So yeah, that's what I read. Let me know your thoughts in the comments if you have any, and until next time.